Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be outlining what minority influence is and the processes that are involved within minority influence. Minority influence is essentially the opposite of majority influence, which is what conformity could be known as. Conformity or majority influence is when the majority influences, but minority influence is where the minority influences. The minority could be made up of a few people or just one person. Ultimately, internalization is what happens when minority influence occurs, which we know from a previous topic is when both private and public beliefs and opinions change. There are three processes that are involved within minority influence, and these processes are consistency, commitment, and flexibility. I will be speaking about each of these processes in more detail within this video. Consistency can ultimately lead to more interest for the minority opinion. This is because when the minority have a consistent opinion, it can cause other people to reconsider their own opinions. This can be linked to the two different types of consistencies, which are synchronic consistency and diachronic consistency. Synchronic consistency means that everyone in the minority is aligned with what they are saying. And then diachronic consistency refers to the time, meaning that not only is the minority being aligned with what they've been saying, but they have for a sustained period. For example, there may be a minority group that is saying that excessive food packaging should be minimised because of the detrimental environmental impacts. This would demonstrate synchronic consistency if they had all consistently been saying the same message about this. If they had been saying this same message for several years and they had been consistently proposing alternative packaging options and speaking to manufacturers about this can demonstrate diachronic consistency as they are not only saying the same message, but they have over an extended period of time. Commitment is another process involved within minority influence. Commitment can lead to attention being gained, particularly if the commitment involves some personal risk or sacrifice to the minority. This can show how committed the minority are to their view or opinion and that they do firmly hold these beliefs. There is a concept called the augmentation principle that can explain this, which ultimately explains how the personal risk or sacrifice can enhance the persuasive power of the messaging from the minority, and it shows how strong their views are and how much they believe in them. This means that more attention may be gained from the majority. To give an example, say if there is a recycling campaign at university and the majority of people don't seem bothered about it, but then there is a minority that put posters up to raise awareness, attend regular meetings, schedule cleanup events, spend a lot of their time and money on this. These are actions and activities that signify sacrifice and dedication to their beliefs and opinions, which could then gain greater attention from the majority and give more weight to the minority's beliefs and opinions, as they see that the minority as sacrificing a lot of their time and money, for example. This was just an example to show what the augmentation principle means. Flexibility is also involved with a minority influence. This means that both flexibility and consistency should be balanced so that the minority do not appear to be too fixed in their views or rigid. Nemeth has suggested that it can be unfavoured by a majority and seen as inflexible if the minority are just repeating the same views and being consistent. It has been indicated that there should be some balance with being flexible and adapting by providing compromises and acknowledging valid opposing views. An example of flexibility could be that a minority may initially propose that sugar should be completely eliminated from everyone's diets, but then show flexibility if they say that on 1 or 2 days a week that foods that have limited amounts of sugar in them could be consumed. This can therefore seem more reasonable and less rigid to a majority. When referring to the snowball effect, this is essentially when the minority gains majority support and therefore transitions to the majority. Over a duration of time, people start the transition from being the minority to then becoming the majority. Ultimately, that is when social change has taken place and the minority opinion has shifted to be the majority opinion. And that is what the snowball effect is. There is a study that was conducted by Moscovici et al. This study investigated the role of consistency within minority influence and ultimately how a minority that is consistent can impact the majority opinion. There were groups of 6 people, and they were shown 36 slides that were blue but varied in intensity in terms of the shade of blue. There were 3 conditions, and there were 2 Confederates in each of the groups who acted as the minority. Within the first condition, the 2 Confederates were consistent. The Confederates both consistently stated that the colour of the slides were green, which was the incorrect colour. Within the second condition, it was an inconsistent minority condition, in which the Confederates were not consistent regarding the slide colour. And the third condition was a control group condition, which had no Confederates present. In terms of the findings and conclusions, in the first condition, which was the consistent condition, it was found that the same incorrect answer was given, which was saying that the slides were green, within 8.42% of the trials. On at least one trial, 32% of participants had given the same response. Within the second condition, which was when the Confederates were inconsistent, the agreement level was 1.25%. Finally, within the control group, the error rate was only 0.25%. To conclude, this thereby shows the impact that a minority that is consistent can have on other individuals' answers and responses, particularly in comparison to the minority that was inconsistent with their opinion.